You're listening to Housekeepers Chat by the United States Department of Agriculture from 1928. Disclaimer. This is read from a historic, archived document. Do not assume content reflects current scientific knowledge, policies, or practices.
This broadcast was aired on Thursday, the 9th of February of 1928.
An old New England Saturday night supper. Garden advice from WRBD, Bureau of Plant Industry. Menu and recipes from Bureau of Home Economics, United States Department of Agriculture. The bulletin available associated with this broadcast is the City Home Garden. This audience can find a link to this bulletin below in the description or by clicking the info card above.
Welcome to the Homemaker Show, where useful tips and recipes flow. From Aunt Sammy with love so true, and the Department of Agriculture too. Gather round and take a seat. We've got everything you need to eat. Practical info for your home. Recipes to keep you strong. For your family, day and night. We'll guide you right with all our might.
Today's program is divided into two parts. Part 1 is devoted to such pleasant topics as starting geraniums in kitchen windows, and Part 2 is devoted to baked beans, brown bread, and so forth. Many women who listened in recently to the garden talk prepared by WRB, the garden specialist, have asked for more advice on what to plant in small backyard gardens. As I told WRB, my listeners are almost as much interested now in his advice about planting spring gardens as they are in my delicious recipes. A fickle public is mine. Isn't it odd, I asked, that the women are thinking about gardens so early, especially up in the northern part of the country?
Not at all,
Said my friend the garden specialist.
The days are growing longer now, and there is every indication that spring is almost here. Down south, of course, the folks are making garden and planting flowers. This is the time of year when women folks plan to fix up their backyards and improve conditions around the kitchen door, as well as around the front door. One of the ways to do this is to start plants or flowers and even vegetables in the house and have them ready to plant outdoors just as soon as the weather becomes warm. One friend of mine has several small boxes in her kitchen windows, some filled with sand and others with nice, loamy, sifted soil. In the boxes filled with sand, she is starting cuttings of geraniums, getting them ready for planting along the foundation of the house, especially on the south and west sides, where it is sunny. In one of the boxes of loamy soil, she has planted seeds of scarlet sage, and the plants are already coming up. These will be transplanted to other boxes, and will make nice large plants, almost ready to bloom, by the time the weather is suitable for putting them out in the border around her back porch. She has another box in which tomato and pepper plants are starting to grow, and in still another box, the tiniest little lettuce plants are peeping through the ground. Of course, it means some work to keep these plants watered, and to keep them from getting chilled. But think of the salads they'll make, Aunt Sammy.
Yes, I said, lettuce and tomatoes will help simplify the meal planning problem. But how does your friend protect these plants on cold nights?
On cold nights,
Explain WRB.
she pulls down the window shades and places several pieces of newspaper between the boxes of plants and the window. In this way, the plants are protected by both the window shade and the papers. She keeps her plant boxes on a little table, and on very cold nights, she pulls the table away from the window so that the plants will not get chilled. She waters the plants with a clothes sprinkling bulb. You know what I mean? A rubber bulb, which can be operated by simply squeezing it and inserting it in a small jar of water to fill. This sprays the water over the plants, the way you sprinkle clothes, Aunt Sammy.
I see. Does she have trouble with her plants falling over and dying from a disease called damping?
Yes,
Said my friend.
she did, before she learned to water her plants more carefully and to apply just enough water to keep them in a growing condition. At present, she has no trouble from that source. She took the precaution, however, of baking the soil for an hour or so in the oven, several days before she planted seed in it. In this same box, she has sown 6 or 8 kinds of flower seed, just a few of each kind, and only those flowers which can be planted early. She will plant seeds of these flowers in the open ground, too, when the weather becomes warm enough. But if her plants come through all right, she will have both early and late flowers in her garden.
Concluded WRB. Before I begin part 2 of this program, I want to suggest that if you have questions to ask about flowers and about vegetable gardens, you send them to me in care of this radio station. I'll forward them to WRB so that he can answer them for you. Here's the menu for a New England Saturday night supper: baked beans, chili sauce, steamed brown bread, sliced oranges, and sugar cookies. A friend of mine, who is a native of Boston, prefers pea beans to navy beans because the pea beans keep their shape better. She is very particular about the bean pot, too. She says you cannot bake beans properly in a shallow pan because they dry out and never develop the rich flavor that comes from baking in a covered earthenware pot. She uses an old-fashioned brown earthenware pot with a small top and bulging sides. I wouldn't dare tell my Boston friend that I have used a 5-pound lard pail to cook beans in. She'd lose her faith in me. My recipe for Boston baked beans comes from the Bureau of Home Economics. 6 ingredients for Boston baked beans: 2 cups dried beans, 1 teaspoon mustard if desired, 1/2 pound salt pork, 1½ teaspoons salt, depending on saltiness of pork, 4 tablespoons molasses, and onion if desired. I'll repeat the 6 ingredients for Boston baked beans: 2 cups dried beans, 1 teaspoon mustard if desired, 1/2 pound salt pork, 1½ teaspoons salt, depending on saltiness of pork, 4 tablespoons molasses, and onion if desired. Soak the beans overnight in cold water, and then cook them gently until they are soft but not mushy. Score the rind of the salt pork, and put half of the pork in the bottom of the bean pot. Add the parboiled beans, mix the molasses and other seasonings with a little hot water, and pour over the beans. Add just enough more water to cover, place the rest of the salt pork on top, cover the pot, and cook the beans very slowly in the oven for 6 to 7 hours. Add a little hot water from time to time to replace that which cooks away and is absorbed by the beans. Keep the lid on the bean pot until the last hour of cooking. Then uncover and allow the beans and pork on the top to brown. Next, the recipe for Boston brown bread. 7 ingredients as follows: 1 cup cornmeal, 3/4 cup molasses, 1 cup rye meal, 1 cup graham flour, 1 teaspoon salt, 2 cups sour milk, and 1 1/2 teaspoons soda, or 1 3/4 cups sweet milk and 4 teaspoons baking powder. 7 ingredients for Boston brown bread: 1 cup cornmeal, 3/4 cup molasses, 1 cup rye meal, 1 cup graham flour, 1 teaspoon salt, 2 cups sour milk, and 1 1/2 teaspoons soda, or 1 3/4 cups sweet milk and 4 teaspoons baking powder. Mix and sift the dry ingredients. Add the molasses and the milk. Beat the mixture thoroughly. Pour the batter into a greased tin can or mold until it is about 3/4 full. Cover and steam for 3½ hours. Remove the cover and bake the bread in a moderate oven for half an hour to dry it off. If the bread seems likely to crumble, loop a clean string around the loaf and cut slices by pulling the ends of the string. And one more recipe for sugar cookies. 8 ingredients: 1/4 cup milk or less, 4 teaspoons baking powder, 4 cups sifted soft wheat flour, 2 cups sugar, 1 cup fat, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 2 eggs, 3 teaspoons flavoring. Everybody have 8 ingredients for sugar cookies? I'll repeat them: 1/4 cup milk or less, 4 teaspoons baking powder, 4 cups sifted soft wheat flour, 2 cups sugar, 1 cup fat, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 2 eggs, 3 teaspoons flavoring. Place the fat in a warm place until it becomes soft, though not melted, so it will combine easily with the sugar. After the fat and the sugar are thoroughly combined, stir in the beaten egg yolks and add alternately the dry ingredients, which have been mixed and sifted together, and the liquid. Add the liquid gradually. Add the flavoring and fold in the well-beaten egg whites. Roll the dough thin, handling it no more than necessary, cut it in any desired shapes, and bake the cookies on a greased baking sheet in a fairly hot oven, about 375 degrees to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Instead of rolling out the dough, it may be chilled and sliced, whether rolled or sliced. Chilling the dough makes it easier to handle this recipe. This recipe makes about 100 thin cookies. To repeat the menu, baked beans, chili sauce, steamed brown bread, sliced oranges, and sugar cookies.
From the kitchen to the floor, we'll help you handle every chore, with a smile, and helping hand, making life both sweet and grand.
Gather round and take a seat.
We've got everything you need to eat. Practical info for your home. Recipes to keep you strong.